And it's not always easy. Sometimes there are some challenges. Like our relationship hasn't always been easy, but I say 90% of it has been easy. It's been smooth sailing. What do you say? This is it's actually all the Sherlock Holmes stories split into two different books. It's just funny. We're staying at a hotel that has a Book of Mormon in it. And this first story that I'm reading of Sherlock Holmes, it deals with this man who kills these two men, and they're Mormons, and they did some very horrible things to people. And it's this idea that the people who were oppressed become the oppressors. The Mormons under Brigham Young moved out to Utah, and they're still out there in droves to this day. Utah is a Mormon state. And I just thought it was funny. I started reading this story in Orlando, get down here to Clearwater, and get to the part of the story where they're talking about the Mormons, and I look in the closet and there's a Book of Mormon in there. You'll find that there's always synchronicities in your life. Things line up well. I think about Ali and I's relationship and how that is lined up, and it just works out. Some things are just easy when it's meant to be. And it's not always easy. Sometimes there are some challenges. Like our relationship hasn't always been easy, but I say 90% of it has been easy. It's been smooth sailing. What do you say?
Yeah, I think I was telling you about that the other day. Our relationship feels like a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you are truly my best friend. We were really good friends before we started dating, though. So
I think that's an important thing to look for in a partner and a lover, is to be friends. Have that friendship before you move into that level of lover. And that'll make things a whole lot easier because, it's actually somebody you enjoy being around. Yesterday was Ali's birthday. And we came down here to celebrate. I wanted to make sure she had a good experience for her born day. And we had a full day. We went to the Salvador Dali Museum. We're going to upload some pictures of that, of the artwork that we saw. So is that illegal? Can you do that?
yeah. Now what might be, they wouldn't want me to do is take that picture that you took in the camera and print it out and then hang it on my wall.
You can't do that, or you can't do that and sell it. How you gonna tell me what I can do with pictures in my camera?
I mean, even if I sell it, like, who's gonna think that's an original piece? But whatever.
Yeah, that's copyright infringement or whatever. That'd just be like Kanye West. He makes a song, I record it, like it plays off my speaker, but I record it or something else and sell it. But like, nah, Kanye, I just recorded your music.
But think about social media now. If, like, say we're making this video and we have some music in the background, they don't even want you to do that. So
it's all about control. So do you have anything in mind that you want to talk about? No?
Not really. I just said that I have like a group of women, maybe a handful of women who truly enjoyed the first video that we put out, and they've been asking me about, okay, when y'all gonna make another video? And I thought today was the perfect time.
Excuse me.
I feel like we talk about so many different things, but we don't just get in front of the camera and talk about it. So
I know there's a lot of lonely people out there. And being lonely is no fun. Everybody needs somebody. We weren't put down here to be by ourselves. But there's an attack. There's definitely been an attack on black women and black men to keep us separated. And then that attack is extended to men and women as a whole. Because,
is it okay?
The system is easier to keep going when you have men and women at odds with each other. There are people who would rather, this world run dysfunctionally, so they can stay in control. But when you have men and women cooperating, living in peace and harmony with each other in that balance, then society changes. So I think when you do see a couple like us or other couples who are operating within that unity, that does a lot towards changing the vibration, changing ideas of people. Because some people will see this and think, well, it's not possible for this to happen to me. But it is possible for you to have this in your life for yourself. You just have to set yourself up to be at that right mindset and that right level of peace within to attract that to yourself.
And sometimes you attract that and you don't even know that's what you're attracting because that's not your focus.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Should it be something that they're consciously focused on or something that just happens?
For me, it was just it was something that just happened, and maybe that's why I did not recognize it in you, because I wasn't looking for it. I was fully consumed with my own personal journey, and yeah.
I started growing my locks almost 5 years ago now. And there's a lot of lessons that can be learned, the similarities between you starting your lock journey and just your journey through life in general. Because when I started, I didn't know what my hair was going to look like. Like I had an image in my head, but I didn't know how my hair was going to turn out. I didn't know what kind of challenges and troubles I was going to face along the way. But as you find yourself going through it, you'll look up one day and be like, dang, like, well, did that look good? Like, dang, my hair is getting pretty long. Like, I got some length now. And they look good. It's working out well. Life is like that as well. Like, you'll start off with like a goal in mind or an idea where you want to end up. And as you're getting there, it's going to be a lot of things that come along the way that you never expected. But you keep yourself in a positive state of mind, you're going to find yourself coming out on the better side of that.
Something I also thought about, you and your lock journey, some things you started doing on a personal level was like following accounts, people with locks. So you had kind of built a community of people with locked hair so that you can see the journey and see the path, see someone else doing it. If you have questions, you can go there and find answers. And I think that also is similar for your personal life. If you are on a journey, if you are having a new experience, especially a spiritual journey, it always helps to surround yourself with like-minded people or be able to have a source for information or a source to be able to go and ask questions. You were that person for me.
That's excellent. I'm glad I can do that.
Yeah.
It is good to be able to see somebody who's doing something similar, and so you can see what kind of steps they have taken. But one thing to keep in mind that everyone's journey is their own. Like you're not going to be able to follow the exact same steps and have the exact same results as somebody else. There is some individuality involved. You're going to have to step out there and do your own thing to a certain degree. But honestly, everybody can do that, but everybody's not built to do that. Like stand as an individual, that takes a lot to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and be able to withstand the consequences. Be like, all right, well, yeah, this is my decision, so I'm gonna, live by these decisions, consequences and all, be they good or bad. But all of that does help to reinforce and make you into a stronger, more well-rounded person. And relationships are like that as well. You get out what you put in. So I always want to remain constant and in appreciation to you, to my woman, because I've noticed that what I put out to you, I get back in return. So like, there's been times where I've had wasn't been feeling my best. I had a little bit of attitude, And I wasn't necessarily being mean, but I wasn't being warm towards you. And I saw how your energy changed in response to that. So I was like, now let me switch this up. Your woman is always going to give back the energy that you're giving to her if you have a good woman. Now, you could be one of those guys or gals and you're with your partner who's just going to do their own thing regardless of what you're doing. And that's not the type of person that you want to be with. I have a lot of aunts, wise women, who would say, well, you can do bad by yourself. It don't make no sense to be with somebody and to be miserable and doing bad.
I think for some women that I know, and even my personal experience, you see relationships that are just completely trash. So you may be in a relationship that's somewhat bad, and you're like, well, it's not as bad as this. So
Mm-hmm.
is this somewhat normal? How do you know when the bad is so bad, too much that you need to leave? Because everything is not going to be peachy. So I think that's always the question. Like, okay, is this worth leaving?
I guess you got to keep that long term picture in mind. I had a high school band director who used to say, you know, one day today's going to be a long time ago from now. Meaning, like, one day me and Ali going to be looking back on this particular day, like, man, that was how many years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to ask yourself, whatever problems were going on that day, is that going to matter down the line? So say you have like a partner, like he punches you in the eye, like, you know, once every 3 weeks. You may be like, oh, I ain't that bad, only getting punched every 3 weeks. But down the line, you can see, no, this may escalate to me getting punched in the face 2 times a week, and I don't want to do that. So you got to decide, you know, which things are acceptable and which things aren't. Maybe that punch in the face was a little extreme.
I was just thinking about how most women who are in abusive relationships is some type of manipulation that goes hand in hand. So when they do get punched in the face, somehow they turn in and say, well, this is what I did to upset him. And if I don't do that again, then I can avoid making him hit me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so they lead with that mindset.
I don't want to have a smile on my face, but I was just thinking about the Ike and Tina Turner movie.
Mm-hmm.
When he first beat her up, he was like, so I guess you gonna leave me now, huh? And then he walked away, and she didn't leave at first. Like, I couldn't imagine being with a woman, she whoops my ass, and I stay. I'm like, what? But you know, there's a lot of men who get abused out here too that they talk about. But it's just not, how you gonna tell your homeboy, yeah, my woman is beating me up and I'm afraid to leave? I'm like, hey, what? She doing what?
How can you get beat up by your woman? Like, can you just like not hold her down? I mean, I don't understand.
I mean, I've seen some mixed match couples. I've seen some guys fucking with some heavyweights. Like, she in a whole nother weight class, a heavier weight class than him. Small, frail guys. And then you have men, you know, they're meek. They don't want to raise any trouble. They just happy they have a woman that's letting them put their penis in them. Like, wow, okay, yeah, I'll take getting beat up.
And why do you even need to beat a man like that?
I don't know. That's some kind of imbalance within themselves.
That's weird. Like, I need to see that before I fully understand, because I may not be understanding what it means when a woman beats a man.
Yeah, it's not funny. It's a very serious thing. But don't let your woman beat you up. Oh, damn. We went jet skiing today. That was a whole lot of fun.
I didn't expect to have as much fun as I did.
On the jet ski?
And you want to know what it is?
Well, you didn't expect to have a whole lot of fun on the jet ski?
No, I thought I was going to be very afraid. But I was willing to do risky things because I have a whole lot of trust in you. So like when we were like going really fast, I didn't really have to worry. As
Mm-hmm.
long as we didn't get close to the wall and other people, I didn't have to worry.
I'll leave me like, Ron, look out for that boat. What boat? You talking about the one way over there? Yes, don't get close to it.
Because you never know what those people are doing.
I
And
understand.
especially with how fast we were going, that
Mm-hmm.
looks like distance. That's nothing.
That it does pick up speed fast, but we weren't we weren't close to that stuff to the point where
I
you
just
had to.
want you to be aware.
Yeah, and I think I would have taken more risks on that jet ski if I was on there by myself. But since I had you with me, I was making sure that I didn't do anything that was going to flip us over.
Yeah, I thought we were doing enough.
Nah, we could have been doing a whole lot more. Guy could have got real stupid. I have a coworker. He talks about he must have flipped the jet ski. He had his wife and son on it, and he happened to flip it by this place where this guy was like fishing for black tip or black fin sharks. So that's like sharks in the water. His wife's panicking. I thought it was interesting. He said he threw his wife on the jet ski first, then his son. Then he got on. He was like, "Yo, if I get bit, I get bit." And I was just thinking to myself, I thought it was like save the child first. Like, what's that hierarchy? Like, we're in danger. Am I supposed to save the child first or save my wife? And it's like, yo, I can get another kid with this woman, or like, what? How does that go?
Hmm. Let me think on that a little bit.
You know that.
Because
Mm-hmm.
me personally, it's the child first for me.
Yeah, that's what I think it's supposed to be.
But for you,
Mm-hmm.
it would still be the child because
Parents supposed to lay down their life for their child.
yeah, and I should be able to hold my own.
Mm-hmm. Now here's one thing when people used to talk about polygamy and I go into like what if situations, like it's what if like we're hanging off a cliff and I got wife one and wife two and I can't pull them both up at the same time. I'm getting tired. How do I
It's
decide
life one.
which wife is what if you did a joint ceremony? Or what if y'all
Mm.
got married at the same time? And you
Mm.
say this wife won. You better let that bitch go.
It's life one.
There's an old movie out called The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood. Macaulay Culkin is the kid from Home Alone, and Elijah Wood is the guy that played Frodo in Lord of the Rings. They were kids at this one.
Who
Macaulay
even
Culkin,
knows?
huh?
Oh, Frodo's the main. What does he look?
Frodo's the main character from Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
He's the ring bearer,
Okay.
one who has to take the ring to Mordor. But anyway, in that movie, Macaulay Culkin plays like this kid is a psychopath, like real messed up, um, doing sadistic things, hurting people, and his mom doesn't know it at first. And Elijah Wood's character is like a cousin to him, but I don't know if you guys want to watch the movie. There comes a point in the movie where that exact scenario is happening. The mom is like sitting there, and both the boys are hanging off of a cliff or something, and she can't pull them both up, and she knows Macaulay Culkin like her own son. Yo, something's off for this motherfucker. And then she got Elijah Wood's character there too, and like she got to decide, all right, who am I going to pull up? Am I going to save my son, who's sadistic and evil, or I'm going to save my nephew, who I know has been trying to tell me if something's off with my son.
You're naturally gonna save your favorite.
Who is the favorite? Your own son?
I mean, I didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, you should watch the movie because it really brings that into question. Because Macaulay, that was an evil little boy. No spoilers. I'm not going to tell you what happens. Go out and watch it for yourself. The Good Son. Did we tell him we went to the Salvador Dali Museum? Or was that the last video?
Yeah, I don't think you told him.
We also went to the Salvador Dali Museum. And here's the good thing about asking people questions who may be more knowledgeable than you, because you can always learn something. I would never have known there was a Salvador Dali museum down here in Clearwater unless I would ask one of my coworkers, yo, what are some good things to do? And he's like, oh man, you got to go check out that museum. And this guy is an artist who painted some very, very, I guess the term is surrealist paintings. And I've always admired, artists, people who can draw and create in that way, because that's not where my skill lies. Like, I didn't like arts and crafts when I was in kindergarten. So seeing what people can see in their heads and put out onto a canvas or whatever their medium is, it's pretty amazing. And I was just thinking to myself, I asked Ali, do they have like museums for music?
I forgot to look that up.
And it's almost like, well, do you need it if you have these orchestras and stuff performing all this old stuff? But then you got to think about, they can't perform everything all the time. So I guess that's why they have recordings. But that would be a great idea, like gathering all the great recordings or great performances and keeping it in one like location. Oh, you have to come in here and hear.
Well, think about like a jazz museum.
Mm-hmm. They'll have pictures of, the artists, maybe like some recordings playing. But like a museum that's based strictly on like the sound museum. That could be something interesting to go to. You got to be careful what kind of music that you're allowing to enter your head as well, because music does influence you. I was at Albany State when the song "Party Like a Rock Star" came out, and after that song came out, people went out in droves and started dressing like black rock stars and stuff. The song "Tatted Up," I can't remember who sang it, but when that song, yeah, it might have been. But when "Tatted Up" came out, people went out in droves and got like tattoos. So you had like "Party Like a Rock Star" and "Tatted Up" coinciding. So you had a change in the culture.
I was one of those rock stars.
Were you?
Yeah, I had blue hair. I had the star earrings, colored jeans. I naturally, like, I already listen to rock music, so.
Let's see how real you are. You ever went crowd surfing?
No.
See, we was crowd surfing at Albany State.
This is when I was in high school anyways.
Okay. Gangster rap.
Have you ever gone crowd surfing?
Mm-mm. But I never claimed to be a rock star again. What was I about to say?
Gangster rap.
I don't understand why we enjoy listening to rappers talk about how much better their lives are than us. Like, they like to stunt. And I guess there's some pain and trauma that goes with that as well when they talk about the things that they've been through. But it's like, nigga, duh, you out here, living on the other side of the law, or you're out here scamming and robbing people. Good doesn't come from that.
What do you mean? Rappers are the hood hero.
Yeah, but all right.
So they show, oh, this is what I did. I made it out the hood, and now they talk about it, and then we listen to the music and we live through them.
All right, living vicariously through other people. Some people were that's enough to where, all right, I'm just gonna listen to it, but I'm not gonna model my life after this. You have some people who don't know better, so they see these rappers and they be like, you know what? I'm gonna follow his formula and see how it does. Maybe I can make it out of here. Doesn't usually work out that way.
Yeah.
Especially when the drug game they call it a game for a reason. The fact that we had or have crack in our communities, we've proven that was because our government agencies put that purposely into our communities.
The drug house.
Yeah. and yet still we rise. That's an amazing thing about us. There's been so much done to try to destroy us, and we're still out here as the people, making it. Maybe not thriving how we would be thriving if we weren't being attacked all the time, but we're still out here making our way. It's a wonder that there's not more of us who are crazy.
What's some of the stuff that you've been seeing in the media? Like you send me a lot of different articles all day on Instagram. What's something that stands out to you that we can talk about?
Um,
I thought about the story with that girl who went partying for a week and left her baby at home.
Yo, that's wild. Was it a week?
It says 6 days.
All right. So, lady in England has a 6-year-old daughter.
6?
Yeah, 6 or 5 or something. The girl was too young to be left alone.
I thought it was 10 months.
10 months?
It's a 10-month-year-old baby.
Ain't no way.
Yep, 10 months.
Wow, I thought the child was like older than that. Either way, this child was clearly too young to be left alone. And this woman like left out of her apartment and was gone for 6 days partying, doing different things, came back, child was dead. And they gave her like a little bit of time. Maybe like 2 years or something like that. I asked Ali, how can someone do something like that? She said that woman clearly has a mental illness. And maybe that's true.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Or maybe she just didn't give a fuck.
That's a mental illness.
Maybe not. Maybe she just really didn't want to be a mother. And she wants to be a YouTuber, so she's uploading content.
Old.
Yeah. Wow. A 20-month-old child left her alone for 6 days. Child did not make it, clearly. But you know, the people are a reflection of the society. So if you have a bunch of crazy people, that's proof that, you know, there's something wrong with your society. We just out here thinking that, you know, shit is cool, things are normal. Like we literally be having debates now, or people have debates on what is a woman. And that's a whole nother subject to get into that's quite controversial.
The thing that blows me about these debates is it's really not even that deep. Like, we aren't even debating the subject matter. We're just debating, am I going to tiptoe around a person's feelings?
Mm-hmm.
That's the shit that's beyond me.
I made a post on Facebook the other day, and I basically said, yo, you have every right to be delusional. But as soon as you want me to participate in your delusion with you, that's when it becomes a problem. You can't dictate my reality based on your delusion. And right, you know, again, that's just another way to divide us as a people and divide men and women. We definitely both have roles, things that we need to do, and there's things that we have to do together. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a functioning society without men and women.
And then here's my thing. If there's no such thing as gender and man and a woman are essentially the same thing, then why are y'all fighting so hard to be called a woman? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And what exactly are you fighting for?
Now, you know this, what did it say? Truth is now subjective and not objective. Truth is based on, you know, what you perceive it to be. And a lot of them are perceiving themselves to be something and get mad when other people don't perceive it that same way.
Yeah.
But you know, as a whole, like when I look in the mirror, what I see is not going to be the same thing that somebody else sees. Even my perception of myself, of, you know, how I know I am, how I believe I am, other people don't know that just by looking at me or from speaking to me. They can only, you know, see the approximation of me, of anybody that you're dealing with.
And then the argument is that people not having the same understanding and agreeing with them on certain things creates a dangerous environment for them.
So the fact that you say you're one thing, but when it's clear your physical attributes and your chemical makeup says otherwise, if I don't recognize what you're saying, that's making for a dangerous environment. And I guess I can see how they can make that argument if you're out there hurting people just because they say, yeah, I'm into this one thing. My idea is as long as you're not hurting people and you're not hurting children and it's between consensual adults, whatever, man, do what you want to do. But as soon as it tips into that line where you're actually hurting people through your delusion, and you're hurting children, that's when you have to nip it in the bud. Power is when you get to decide whose perception is right. And right now we have like a big push trying to tell us, no, this is the perception that we're going to go with. And, one of the laws of the universe says that the swing of the pendulum to the left is equal to the swing of the pendulum to the right. So if things seem to be swaying this way, just know they're going to swing back the other way. It takes like an adept or a master, to keep that point right there in the middle, using the other natural laws. But whenever you go too far to the extreme, there's going to be a self-correcting event that happens, and that self-correcting event, it can usually be catastrophic because you have people so used to doing things one way that when it flips over and we start doing it a different way, they're not going to be able to adapt to that change. And you're going to have like some angry people. You see it in politics. One year we elect a Republican president. All the Democrats get pissed off and say, yo, it's Republicans that are what's wrong with this country. Look at the state of things now. So then the next time they put in a Democrat. And now the Republicans are saying, yo, look how messed up the country is. We need us back in office. So you flip-flop back and forth, going to these two different wings of the same bird. Like I said, it's all a game.
I'm tired. You didn't tell them in this video about how long we've been up today?
I've been up since like 6:45 a.m. and it is now. Oh wow! I still got the timer going from the jet ski. It's now 1:25 in the morning. It's been a pretty long day, but it's been an eventful day. Got a lot in one day, and now we have to go back to our regularly scheduled programming.
What's your word of advice to men who are in a relationship and things are rocky for whatever reason? Let's say communication.
One of the things I think men have to realize is that women are much more aware of their feelings and their thoughts, and it comes more naturally to them than it does for us. So I think it's easier for them to communicate what's wrong, how they're feeling about a situation, than it is for a man. Because it's like, with us, we're taught to, your emotions are separate from you, in a sense. Like, you have to be on like that middle path. But when you're not aware of your emotions and she's asking you to communicate with her, or you're not able to express them clearly, that leads to problems because she just wants to understand what's going on. And if you can't, put that out to her, that's going to cause problems. So my word of advice is to take more time to yourself to think about why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. What's the root of it? Where is it coming from? And it's not always easy to just think about and figure that out. Sometimes you have to write things down and retrace your steps. So why don't I like this? Oh, okay, that comes from this. Well, why does this make me feel this way? Oh yeah. That comes from things I've seen in the past, things that I've experienced in the past, and it led me, step by step to this point. And another piece of advice is to realize that, by our very nature, men and women are different. And we're supposed to be. We have our similarities, but we have our differences. And those differences should be celebrated because when they're working in conjunction with each other, it makes for a stronger unit as a whole. So in the areas where I'm not as strong, such as, communicating and being more aware of my feelings and being able to express it, having a woman who is that way rubs off on you. So you'll stop and take the time and be like, okay, well, what was I thinking? Why am I feeling this way? Versus in the past, that's just something you could brush off. Doesn't seem too major. Well, why are you doing this? Well, I've always done it. But why? Because I've always done it. But you gotta dig into that why. And it brings more understanding about yourself. And that makes a better person. Know thyself, O man, and you shall be the master of this universe. Something like that's written on the Temple of Delphi. But it's all about knowing thyself. And to thy own self be true. But I'm getting sleepy as well. Good night, good people. All right, you ready to turn this into the X-rated version?